Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we help you make sense of the world by digging into the information you're curious about.
That's right.
Today, we're jumping into artificial intelligence. Seems like it's everywhere in the news right now.
It really is. Nonstop
You
developments.
sent over a really interesting collection of articles. We've got global AI infrastructure build-outs.
Huge projects, yeah.
Then there's the whole debate around artists and AI training,
Always a hot topic.
plus how our own data, like personal data, is being used, and some surprising things happening in education, too.
Right. Looking at Estonia specifically.
Exactly. So our mission today is pretty clear. Unpack these key AI stories, see what's really going on, and figure out, what it means for you.
Absolutely. It's not just theoretical anymore, is it?
Hmm.
This tech is actively changing things. Industries, laws, even how we learn.
You can really see the foundations being laid.
Yeah, the groundwork for an AI-powered future.
Hmm.
And it's raising some big fundamental questions. How do we govern it? What's it going to feel like?
Okay, let's start with maybe the biggest foundation piece here. Stargate UAE. Sounds very sci-fi.
It does a bit, doesn't it?
So this is OpenAI's first OpenAI for countries partnership. What's the big picture?
Well, the striking thing is just the sheer ambition
Yeah.
and the number of players involved.
Right.
Think of it as like the first node in what OpenAI wants to be a whole global network.
A network of AI infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. And they're teaming up with some heavy hitters, G42, Oracle, NVIDIA, Cisco. SoftBank is in there too.
Wow. So what are they building?
A massive computing cluster. In Abu Dhabi, we're talking 1 gigawatt.
1 gigawatt. That sounds huge.
It is. For context, a big data center might use tens, maybe hundreds of megawatts. A gigawatt cluster. That shows you the kind of power needed for these really advanced AI models.
And the first part, 200 megawatts, is expected in 2026.
That's the timeline, yeah. So
Fair.
relatively soon.
Now, the sources also mentioned this isn't just about the UAE. They're also investing back into the U.S.
That's right. It's a two-way street. There's investment in U.S. infrastructure, too.
And it's coordinated with the U.S. government. Even President Trump's support was mentioned.
Precisely. That tells you it's more than just a commercial deal. It's strategic.
Geopolitical, almost.
Absolutely. It's about securing AI capabilities with allies, but also boosting your own domestic tech base. Remember, the UAE already committed huge sums to invest in the U.S. economy, including tech.
So it's about who leads in technology down the line.
Exactly. Shaping that future leadership.
And this OpenAI for countries. The plan is for 10 partnerships like this globally.
That seems to be the goal, yes.
With this vision of a globally distributed, democratically powered AI network, what does that actually mean, democratically powered?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The idea, I think, is to move away from AI development being concentrated in just one or two places.
Trading it out.
Yeah, a more federated approach, maybe with shared rules or governance. It's still early days, though.
But a concrete step is the UAE becoming the first country to roll out ChatGPT nationwide.
Right. That gives a whole population direct access. And think about the reach. Stargate UAE, they say, could cover a 2,000-mile radius.
Potentially half the world's population.
Potentially, yeah. So the accessibility implications are massive.
And they're already looking beyond the UAE. There's a roadshow planned for Asia Pacific.
Yep, led by Jason Kwan. They're actively looking for those next partnerships. It really feels like we're watching the blueprints for a new kind of global digital architecture being drawn up.
Okay, wow. Let's pivot now from building the hardware to a very different kind of conflict. Artist consent and AI training.
Right. The Nick Clegg comments really stirred the pot.
He basically said requiring permission from artists for AI training data would kill the AI industry in the UK. Strong words.
Very strong. And it hits right at that core tension, doesn't it? Innovation versus creator rights.
What's his argument, essentially? That it's just too much data?
Pretty much. That the sheer volume of data needed makes getting individual consent totally impractical. His sort of counteroffer was maybe an opt-out system for creators.
But the creative community sees it very differently. That open letter. Paul McCartney, Dua Lipa, Elton John. A lot of big names.
A huge list, yeah.
Yeah.
They were backing an amendment to a data bill.
What did they want?
Transparency, mainly.
Hmm.
They wanted a legal requirement for AI companies to say exactly which copyrighted works they used for training.
So artists could actually track it and presumably enforce their copyright?
Exactly, to
Big.
stop, their work being used without permission.
But that amendment didn't pass. MPs rejected it.
Right. The technology secretary argued that, well, both sectors need to thrive, AI and the creative industries. Finding that balance.
Feels like a bit of a deadlock.
It really does.
Yeah.
You've got the AI side worried about getting bogged down in licensing, slowing down progress.
And the creators feeling like their work is being exploited?
Yeah, without
Yeah.
consent or compensation. And Biban Kidron saying the fight isn't over yet. It shows this debate is far from settled, especially with the bill going back to the House of Lords.
It really feels like the Wild West trying to figure out the rules as we go.
That's a good way to put it. Laying track while the train's already moving at full speed.
Okay, sticking with data issues, let's talk about Meta. Training their AI on personal data from Facebook and Instagram users.
Yeah. That one definitely raised some eyebrows, especially around privacy.
Understandably. So, what happened with the regulators? I saw something about a German authority.
Right, the Hamburg Data Protection Authority. They initially flagged it, raised concerns.
And then they backed off.
Well, they dropped the urgency procedure. Their reasoning was interesting. They didn't want to be the only EU authority challenging Meta on this right now. They decided to wait for a broader EU-wide look at it.
So, waiting for a unified front, basically.
Seems like it. It points to the challenge of applying GDPR, the big EU data protection law, consistently when it comes to AI.
And then a German court actually sided with Meta.
Yes, the Cologne Regional Court allowed them to keep mining data for AI training, for now.
And Ireland. Since Meta's European HQ is there, their data authority is key, right?
Exactly. And the Irish authorities apparently didn't object to the plans initially.
So it's a bit messy. Privacy experts might argue against it under GDPR.
Oh, many certainly do. They see it as conflicting with core GDPR principles.
But the regulators aren't fully unified, and at least one court decision went Meta's way.
Right. It creates this kind of ambiguous legal space.
Mm.
It really highlights how hard it is to fit these new AI data practices into existing legal boxes.
So what does this mean long-term for our privacy if using personal posts for AI training just becomes standard practice?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? Where does the boundary lie? It's still being fought over.
Okay, let's shift gears completely. From data debates to something maybe more forward-looking. Estonia and AI in education.
Ah, yes, Estonia. Always interesting when it comes to digital adoption.
They rank really high in education, PISA scores, and all that.
Top performers, yeah.
And their approach to tech in schools is, well, different. No phone bans, like we're seeing in some places, like England.
Right. They seem much more open to integrating technology rather than restricting it.
So what are they doing with AI? They have this national initiative, AI Leap.
Yeah, AI Leap. The goal is pretty ambitious. Get students and teachers equipped with, and this is their phrase, world-class artificial intelligence tools and skills.
And they're partnering directly with OpenAI, making Estonia a testbed.
That's the plan, like a living lab for AI in schools. They want to give free access to AI learning tools to tens of thousands of students and teachers by 2027.
Starting with older teens.
16 and 17-year-olds first, yeah.
What's really interesting is the focus isn't just the tech, but the teachers.
Absolutely crucial. The training is focused on things like self-directed learning, digital ethics,
Makes sense.
educational equity, making sure everyone benefits, and just basic AI literacy, understanding what it is, how it works.
So it's not just, here's some software, good luck.
No, it's about building capacity, helping a whole generation learn to use, understand, and think critically about AI.
The education minister there, Christina Callas, seems really behind this, talking about smartphones already being used for learning, even for online voting.
Yeah, she seems to embrace the digital reality. Estonia has that history, right? Their Tiger Leap program back in the day,
Yeah.
investing early in digital infrastructure.
Right. So this AI push builds on that foundation.
Exactly. And Callas has this vision of an AI revolution in education. Possibly, she suggests, the end of the traditional essay.
Wow. No more essays. What would replace them?
Maybe more focus on higher-level thinking, oral exams, discussion, things AI can't easily replicate, shifting away from just memorization.
That's not a radical thought.
It is. But she frames it with urgency, saying we need to evolve our cognitive skills because AI is advancing so fast.
Yeah.
We need to focus on what makes us uniquely human.
That's a really powerful point. When I first read that about essays potentially ending, it really made me think about how learning itself could change, become more about, critical thinking.
Definitely food for thought.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it's clear AI is just moving on so many fronts at once.
It really is. You've got the massive infrastructure build
Like Stargate UAE,
and these fundamental debates about rules, rights, creativity,
artist consent issue,
the ethical tightropes around using our personal data,
the meta situation.
and then these bold experiments in places like Estonia, rethinking core things like education.
It all feels connected somehow.
It is. More computing power enables better AI, which forces the regulation and data debates, which then impacts how society, like schools, adapts.
Yeah.
It's all one big evolving system.
So for you listening in, keeping track of this stuff matters, even if you're not a tech expert, right?
Absolutely. Because it's shaping the tools you use, the rules that govern them, maybe even how you or your kids learn in the future. It affects everyone.
It really does. Which brings us to a final thought for you to maybe chew on.
Yeah.
As AI keeps accelerating, which part of all this feels most significant to you? Is it the sheer scale of the infrastructure build? Is it the fight over creative rights? The questions around your own data privacy? Or is it the potential transformation of something fundamental like education?
It's a lot to consider. Which thread pulls strongest for you? It's a landscape full of potential, but also, real challenges. And understanding it is more important than ever.